Where's she at? Okay, top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on. We are live, a moment of silence for all those who have lost their lives. With that being said, let's remember this. If we can look up, we can get up, we can get up, we can go up. This is Freestyle Saturday. I'm freestyling today, even though I have some topics pre-selected. I'm just checking out the sound in the background. And my freestyle means I'm not breaking out the PowerPoint presentation. That's what my freestyle night means. I'm just getting ready to free flow this. So having said that, you see the title. Let's get to the music and let's get started. Let me make sure the song is queued up. Lily, Lily, when you get here, I already sent you the link. Just come on in. All right. Hopefully everybody's been doing all right. YouTube. When topics like this are discussed, people say they don't get my notifications. 90% of YouTube is driven by AI, artificial intelligence. Over 90%. So, excuse me, you all. You have your machines set to filter out things coming from certain channels. YouTube, y'all confess to using 90% of artificial intelligence and not real humans, not me. Now, having said that, let's get all off into this. Come on, revolution will not be televised. Revolution will be live. You see the title. Let's go. This is freestyle today. Come on. I'm freestyle. Excuse me, I just got finished drinking tea.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
What am I coughing for?
You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle.
Oh, the devil is a lie. I don't need to be up here talking.
And Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hoodoo will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised.
See, YouTube, y'all tripping.
There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry women and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose.
Intelligence is tripping.
The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live. Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or the Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun. The revolution will be live.
All right, I'm freestyling tonight. Letha, you have been sent the link earlier. All you have to do is come on in. Come on in the room. I should be freestyling sounding like that tonight. Let's get off into this. You see the title. By the way, free Grandmaster, dismiss the charges on Grandmaster J. I said I'm freestyling tonight. Well, I'm freestyling. I'm doing that much freestyling. Hold on. Let's look at the charges that got dismissed, that the judges threw out on Rittenhouse. Let's start there with my freestyling self tonight. Can we pull it back before we walk it up? Okay, I'm not getting ready to listen to them argue all of that. I want to start right here. Let me stop it and hit share on it. And you can see how the 6th charge got thrown out. Freestyling night, let's go.
To now, the motions were motions to dismiss the complaint. And you filed a very nice brief, which well explained what the law is, and of course we were dealing with what the complaint stated and whether the complaint stated.
Well, I do want to go back. I do want to go back because of the barrel size on the right.
The third element that you have listed there is the dangerous weapon was a rifle that had a barrel length of less than 16 inches or an overall length of less than 26 inches. We have pulled the transcript, talked and looked at it. Detective Antaramian was asked if this was a short-barreled rifle. He had answered no, he did not believe that it was. That's the only information regarding that.
Was the gun offered as an exhibit?
Yes.
That is evidence.
Correct.
Enough in itself. The jury can measure it.
Okay. Fair enough. I just didn't, the way that I looked at it, there was no other information that a reasonable juror could believe that count 3's been met. So
what are you telling me?
That I'm asking that you take it from them.
They're asking me to dismiss the case for failure to prove.
This count 6. Judge,
count 6.
There have been many discussions about this count. I'm not going to rehash everything. The state disagrees with the interpretation the court has established. We do not believe this jury instruction is appropriate. We do not believe
this is the judge getting ready to throw off that 6th
or affirmative defense, or whatever you want to call it, was properly raised. We argued about all that on Friday. I'm not going to rehash it. I believe it should go to the jury, and if the jury believes that it was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt, they can return a verdict on that. But the state has objected all along, or has given its version all along. We stand by that version. I believe that this jury instruction essentially swallows the entire statute. We've gone over that before. So I believe that if they raise an exception, then it should go to the jury. We would like the standard instruction. Clearly, the court's not going to do that.
Well, up to now, the motions were motions to dismiss the complaint. And you filed a very nice brief, which well explained what the law is. And of course, we were dealing with what the complaint stated and whether the complaint stated sufficient facts to bring the case to court. And the court is confined on that kind of a motion to what's in the complaint and whether it meets the law. And as you pointed out, these defensive matters are affirmative defenses, and the DA doesn't have to plead them. So that's why I ultimately denied the motion to dismiss, although I think it ought to have been mighty clear that I had big problems with this statute. I've made no bones about that from the beginning. And there always was access to the Court of Appeals all along here.
Okay,
I guess
let me let Lisa in.
Because I was sitting on it. But so shame on me. But
hey, Lisa.
I ultimately read the statute and have, even when I ruled on the motion to dismiss, I was of the opinion that the statute was as interpreted by the defense, but there was not sufficient grounds to grant the motion to dismiss. Is the firearm here? No?
Yes.
We can either measure it, or you can stipulate that it does not meet what I've stated are the requirements. And if it is out of compliance, if the barrel length is less than 16 inches, or an overall length less than 26 inches, then I'll deny the motion. If it does not meet those specifications, then this defense motion will be granted.
We are not disputing that the barrel is appropriate.
Isn't legal?
It is not a short-barreled shotgun or a short-barreled rifle. Yes.
Either by.
I don't know why they kept cutting him off.
Correct.
All right, and then count.
And there was the dismissal. It is not a short barrel rifle, and the judge threw that 6 charge out because it was not a lethal short barrel rifle. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, it is illegal for minors to have firearms, okay? However, the defense came back and argued about the barrel size on the rifle, saying, well, minors a certain age can carry hunting rifles. Therefore, because it was the size of a hunting rifle, he shouldn't be charged with that 6 count. Well, really, when you throw out the gun charge, there goes the entire case. And when they did that, I said, we know the judge, you can go back and play it back. The judge letting him pick some names out the box in terms of jury selection. Everybody was talking about that one. But when he threw out that 6 charge, I said, then you just really wrapped up the whole case. You basically gave him a free pass because there goes the case. No gun, no case. No gun possession, no case. No possession of a firearm being established, then what is this trial about? Because it was him utilizing the firearm, killing people. That was the purpose of this trial. No gun, no case. The judge threw the 6 went out because minors a certain age can have a hunting rifle, and he wasn't on a hunting ground. Adults were with him, however. I said, where was the hunting license at? And they not on within hunting territory. So I would have came back like, excuse me, where the license at? And by the way, we not on no hunting, we not at a hunting camp or facility. I sure would have. I would have came right back and popped it. If you want to say he hunting, all right, let's go down the path of hunting then. Are we at a hunting site on a hunting campground? Because surely, jurisdictionally, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, you can't hunt all over. Yeah. But oh well. Hey, Yvonne, how you doing? This freestyle. This is a freestyle. Yvonne, if you want to come up, just let me know. I'm freestyling tonight. Okay. And Letha got herself muted. Stop the share on this. All right. So now that we're freestyling, go back to the view gallery.
I gotta fix my coffee, Kerensz, so I won't make noise. I'm coming home.
Oh, okay. Right, Yvonne. He made it so the prosecutors could not come back and amend nothing. He threw that mess up out of there. It's out. I said no gun, no case. However, the hypocrisy of the situation is the first witness that testified to giving Kyle, that purchasing the gun for Kyle, he getting charged and he got to go to trial. So, because he gave firearm to a minor, what is he going to trial for? Because somebody make that make sense.
Okay.
You got your coffee, Letha?
Yeah, I got my coffee.
All right, tell Sade I said what's up when you talk to her.
I sure will.
Okay. All right. So I just played back because I'm freestyling tonight. Why the judge throwing out that 6th charge with Kyle possessing the firearm. Okay. So I played that back. Now, so people can understand why.
We already know.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
We already know why for real, but technically we can't say it. You have to say it in a more professional way, but we already know why he threw it out.
This freestyle night tonight, Letha. Go ahead. Wait a minute. Hold on. You can't say anything.
Okay. Okay.
Wait a minute. I know what your anythings be. Hold on, time out.
Okay. Okay. So PG-13. Correctional.
We ain't gotta be PG, but oh Lord have mercy.
In my opinion, Kerensz. In my opinion, this is my opinion, and I have the right to that.
Okay, Yvonne, hold on for a minute. Yvonne, what I'm going to do is drop my email, send me your email address, and I will send you the link. But Yvonne, just know I do believe in ejecting people off my panel, and you already know. You know how to use a plethora of words without using extremely candid language. We know how to do that. But yeah, Yvonne, go ahead and I see you with the laughing emoji. Go ahead, Yvonne. Email me your information, and then I'll do the invite so you can come on in. I said just freestyle. We have something to say. Now, I'm going to leave my construction at the end, but let's get to this other one. Let me get to this because I have Grandmaster J in NFAC as well as other black gun militias in the title for a reason.
In 2020, black gun ownership increased by 56%, according to the Firearm Industry Trade Association. As racial tensions remain, some black gun owners are looking for ways to normalize owning guns and making sure their community knows about gun safety. In this morning's Good Day Together, Leslie Rangel talked with the founder of Black ATX Tactical, who's on a mission to change black stereotypes.
We ran out. The black people who wasn't packing ran out and got some guns for a very specific reason. Don't even play. We ain't gonna even play. We ain't playing that. We saw what was going on. So, did you email me, Yvonne? I put my email in the chat so you can email me, but your email didn't pop up yet. And hold on, I hope this person is still not attempting to reply or respond to me in the background. But they can watch this chat from the book. Oh, no. Yep, Yvonne. Go ahead, but go ahead, Lisa. You did? Okay, Yvonne, I'm waiting for it to come through.
I was saying, in my opinion.
Go ahead, Lisa. Roll with it.
Okay.
I don't see your email address. I'm waiting, Lisa. Roll with it.
Okay, I said, in my opinion, when I watched the trial, from the beginning and going back and looking at it, the judge should have been thrown out from the beginning. He should have been thrown out. He's a good old boy. He's a good old boy. Listen to the music he played on his ringtone. And to me, like I was discussing this with Kerensz, there's a more deeper meaning. They sent out a message. They sent out a message when they allowed
okay, there it is.
Looters, looters, what else they were called, looters and whatever.
Okay, he said they could call them rioters.
Right.
Just a host of names, but the judge also stipulated that the prosecutors were not allowed to refer to the ones who were shot and murdered by Kyle as victims. Remember, he said that.
The prosecution wasn't trying to do nothing about this from jump. Or
the prosecution were, if you look at everything that they were, their motions, they didn't think it was fair, they didn't think it was right. But what I would have done is I would have had the judge investigated under investigation, because he would not have been able, if they would have went ahead and filed on him and had him under investigation or review for breaking the oath of office or anything like that, as it pertains to Wisconsin law, and also as it pertains to federal law in terms of the oath that judges have to keep, he wouldn't have been able to preside over the case. See, I believe if you're gonna take somebody down on the technicality, like he threw that gun charge out, then let's go. Because I would have got the judge for a couple of things. Number one, I would have got him for allowing Kyle Rittenhouse to choose some of them juror names out of a hat. That's never been done before. Usually the judge picks all of the jurors.
He did what he wanted to do. We see that. I gotta set the TV up so I can see the chat. I'll be right back.
Okay, it's sent, Yvonne. I just sent it to you. So So I just, you know, somebody make this make sense. And really you can't, because this is a bunch of foolishness. All right. All right, there she go. All right. So I'm getting ready to let you in, Yvonne. Wait a minute. Where? Okay. There she go. All right. All right. Hi, Yvonne. How you doing? Go ahead and unmute yourself, Yvonne. I'm getting ready to unmute you. Oh. Okay. I'm like, unmute yourself, Yvonne. What you doing?
Look, I was coming off of my phone.
Oh, okay.
On my phone, and I was finagling stuff.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm like, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah.
We got something to say. Come on in. Come on in the room.
Oh my goodness.
Come on in the room.
It was just unbelievable. You know, and the way it was all handled. You know, I'm all for everybody getting a fair trial. Right. But some things just was out of line to me.
Yeah.
That judge was totally out of line in some of his antics.
Yeah, he was out of order.
Yeah.
And they should have called him on it.
Yeah.
I would have.
And that just makes me wonder why the prosecution didn't fight a little bit harder.
Well, when I was listening to Kyle, not to Kyle Rittenhouse uncle, but when I was listening to Jacob Blake uncle, he went off. He went all the way in. And we probably need to play that tonight, because I got videos to play. I mean, this is freestyle because I don't have my PowerPoint up, but I got a bunch of videos to play.
Okay. His uncle, Jacob Blake, is the...
Jacob Blake, remember, they were protesting because Jacob Blake had gotten shot by the police. And so when the verdict came down, Jacob Blake's uncle had some things to say, and Jacob had some things to say, but his uncle was going off. He was like, is this, and this? We live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and y'all know good and well, they don't let none of the 17-year-old black people, or black people, period. You could be grown to be carrying that same type of rifle, and you know what it is.
Right.
Because a lot of some men that live in Kenosha, Wisconsin was like, hold up. They started dropping down in the comment section under news channel saying, wait a minute, we grown. We didn't even have our weapon out. We had it in the trunk, and we got charged and convicted. How he get to roll up in here like that? So, and they live in West Kenosha. I don't. They said, so they was like, make this make sense.
No.
Well, he went off.
You couldn't make it make sense. It didn't make no sense. There wasn't no sense to make it, period. That's why they protesting right now, all over the states and stuff. It's all, I just turned it on. They protesting everywhere.
Oh, so they are protesting.
Yeah, they are.
They are? Okay.
They're protesting. I just, before I turned on your channel, because I saw protesters marching and protesting over the verdict of B-Boy, Book Boy. What is his name? Rittenhouse.
Okay, let's see if the news media is covering that. Because like I said, I'm freestyling tonight. Well, I know 12 hours ago and yesterday. Okay, so let me pull it up from. I don't 100% rock with the Guardian like that.
They were waiting to find out who was going to pull him in as an intern for something. I told you, didn't I? They've been propping, getting ready.
Okay. Okay, Letha, I'm getting ready to play it. Letha and Yvonne, I'm getting ready to go ahead and share the video I just put up on that, since you all brought it up. Again, to those watching, this is Freestyle. I'm freestyling today. Let's go, let's get it. And you know how I like to do. I'm gonna piggyback off of what they up here saying, because that's the way I freestyle.
Frustration spilling into the streets across the nation. In Portland, demonstrations turned violent. Rioters setting fires, smashing windows and doors. Protesters from New York to Chicago, angry. House acquitted on all 5 counts.
Not guilty.
The families of those Rittenhouse shot that night in Kenosha, Wisconsin in August of last year, stunned by the verdict.
I'm numb to it right now. I'm still in shock.
The father of Anthony Huber, one of the 2 men Rittenhouse killed, blasting the way the trial unfolded.
If anyone watched that trial, you can't tell me that that judge wasn't biased.
Huber saying his fight isn't over.
Will you pursue a civil suit against Kyle Rittenhouse?
A civil suit has been filed, and whether we add his name to it is yet to be determined.
Is the part of this as well?
Yes, they are, and the sheriff's department and everyone involved.
Legal experts say civil suits could be viable.
I think these are triable cases. You can never predict the outcome of a jury, whether a criminal jury or a civil jury.
Rittenhouse himself speaking to Fox News shortly after the verdict.
The jury reached the correct verdict. Self-defense is not illegal. It's been a rough journey, but we made it through it.
John Huber's
hey,
son,
Miss G, how you doing?
This is where my son is. You know, how does he get to walk free after killing me?
Reaction to the trial further demonstrating the country's political divide.
It's like before the trial even starts, people are choosing sides.
Now some Republican members of Congress are jockeying online over who will hire Rittenhouse as a congressional intern, while Vice President Harris offered this response to the verdict.
I've spent a majority of my career working to make the criminal justice system more equitable, and clearly there's a lot more work to do.
Megan, what has the reaction been on the ground there in Kenosha?
Well, Jose, since that verdict was read inside the courthouse behind me here, the streets of Kenosha have been calm, giving the sense that this community is ready to move forward.
Okay, so ladies, what do we have to say about that? Let me stop the share on that. And hello, Miss G, and to the people in the bushes. I got
these people, they do what? All across the states, they protesting and they what? And they're not us. They let you know.
That's what I was wondering.
Every color gets frustrated with the law and they feel like it's wrong. So they doing it too. And I don't blame them.
That's exactly what I was wondering. What was the ethnicity of those protesters?
Okay,
were they just
in the first video, you did see the black people in the audience, right? Yeah, right. So it's different ethnic groups.
Yeah, okay. Everybody frustrated with right is right and wrong is wrong.
That's right.
Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
It don't really have a color. So what I'm saying is when we are, or black people get frustrated and we protest and stuff, that don't make us, because of our color, be wrong just because we are black and we showing out or whatever they say. No, that's not it. It's that we're frustrated and we figure it's wrong, and right is right, is wrong is wrong. So we're gonna see what they say about this protest.
Oh, wait a minute. So Yvonne, what do you have to say?
I was surprised when they said that Kenosha is calm and everybody else is protesting. If anybody should be protesting, why not where it happened at?
Exactly.
Well, remember, before a certain group of those who were there to be a distraction, a deterrent, and a menace to society showed up, Kenosha, the authentic protesters were out there protesting anyway, like the black males were saying. If you go back to the old video footage, they didn't want their communities burnt up and burnt down. They didn't. That's not what they were out there doing. It's when others start showing up and brought that in. They started that.
Okay, so with this Rittenhouse thing, those were not Kenosha people. Those were people who came from other places.
That's right.
Wow.
Right.
I didn't realize
because those black
that.
guys, remember, they were out there because Jacob Blake had gotten shot 7 times in the back by the police officers.
Right.
So they showed up and they said, "Nah, we out here for police brutality. We out here, for other issues. This always happens systematically over here in the United States. We know how it is. We know how it go." No. So people remember, Kyle does not reside in Wisconsin.
Right.
He lives in Illinois. Others came in from other state. And remember, during the trial, I don't know if you remember during the trial, he said, well, we started coming in because we saw what was happening to properties and buildings. And so, they're like, we're coming in to bring some type of order.
Vigilante.
Order to what? And you're not law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of order were they bringing? And then it's the fact that they really should have got, if I was prosecutors, I would have got him from impersonating EMT too.
Right.
See, the prosecutors didn't have enough charges for me because I would have charged him, and y'all know I'm on straight about defending people, but I would have charged that tail for everything. You've been out here impersonating EMT. I'm getting you for that. You've been out here doing this. I'm gonna get your tail for that too. So let's roll it. Let's go.
He was a child in an adult world. He didn't have the mentality for all that holding that gun.
Okay, that's
gun gave him power.
That's the stuff that they're using. He was a kid, but wait a minute, because they charge 17-year-olds as adults,
right?
Especially when they getting ready to charge them 16 and the 15-year-olds who stabbed that one boy in Florida. They getting ready to try them as adults. So they want to say, oh, because remember, his defense used that too. He was a kid. So think about what you would do as a kid. But wait a minute. Think about all the black kids who've been in prison, who went in at 15, 16. Did we use the same thing for them too?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying as far as him doing that act, even though he should be tried as an adult, but in that certain circumstance, adult, when a man step into you, an adult wouldn't have took that action of shooting somebody for somebody stepping to you. That's all I'm saying. You don't think so, no?
Wait a minute, Yvonne. No, hold on, sister. We just saw a whole bunch of people get shot for stepping on some shoes. Forget stepping to. You didn't got shot for stepping on somebody's shoe or brushing up against somebody. So,
okay.
We got too many instances like that. Wait a minute. Wait.
So what is Yvonne saying? He should have been tried as a juvenile?
No. I'm just saying the mentality of an adult having in this particular situation, as an adult having a gun, as a 17-year-old having a gun, the mentality is not, he was in the wrong place. I'm not justifying what he did. I'm not condoning what he did, but I'm thinking, being that he had the mindset of not a seasoned adult with a gun, he got scared and he shot. Okay, I'm thinking a seasoned adult would have acted the way that he
Wait a minute, Letha. Okay, so Letha, what do you have to say? Because I know I got a whole bunch to say behind that. I'm gonna let Letha go.
He ain't got scared of nothing. He got scared after he shot, yeah. But he wasn't scared before he shot. Before, when he was out there to administer aid, and somebody said he wasn't scared when he was out putting out fires and all this. He got scared after he shot. That man, boy, was pumped up. He thought he was out there, like they said, protecting the area from people burning their buildings. He wasn't scared. He was all pumped up. He's scared. He was scared after he shot them folks. And when he was on trial, he ain't scared now. he all pumped up, and he's got, like you say, he's a minor. He's got these good old boys and these people patting him on his back and telling him you did a good job, and they're gonna recruit him, and he's gonna be an intern, and he's gonna be something. I don't know what it is, but he's gonna be something.
And so now, ladies, to piggyback off what you've all said, that is a slap in my melanated face. So let me go here. Let me go right here. Kyle Rittenhouse, the judge did not allow his post where he was doing them Proud Boy signals to play in court. So let the record show. Not only that, they didn't bring in the fact, because you know, we seen trials where they like to throw the sink at everybody. Okay. Especially if you're rich and melanated, or if you from a certain ethnic group, or you're considered a minority. And keep in mind, women are considered minorities here in the United States of America. So females, you are not excluded. Okay. You go to trial, they like to throw the kitchen sink at you. They didn't let that be brought in. Remember, Kyle Rittenhouse beat his ex-girlfriend up. Hold up. They didn't let that be brought in. Wait a minute. That's the video YouTube flagged on my channel and took down. That's why I have a warning on my channel, is because I showed him beating up his ex-girlfriend. He jumped in a fight between his sister and his ex-girlfriend. His sister and his ex-girlfriend was fighting. He jumped in. Okay. That's the video YouTube struck and put a warning on. That's the only reason I got a warning on the channel. So they didn't let that be brought up. So you get him running around. See, it was the behavior he had leading up to that. See, the pattern of behavior was there. Furthermore, it's being alleged that him and his mother had issues with him coming along. Keep in mind also that he couldn't really attend school either because of what? Behavior issues. So he had been having issues all along. What his mama should have did, hold on. So what his mama should have did for him a long time ago, and a female police officer did this to her son and never had another problem with him. And he was a teenager. She said, you know what I did for my son? When he was feeling froggy, and yes, she rich and melanated. She said, you know what I did for my son as a police officer? When he was feeling froggy and froggish, she said, I took that 2x4 and I went straight across his back and knocked the air out of him. And guess what? He grown today. He ain't never felt froggy again.
No, that's what you
okay. Okay. So he had been having issues all along. And the fact that Republicans can have their butts up there talking about some, oh, he can come up here and intern. Who's he going? No, that's a slap across our face.
Yes, it is.
That's a slap across the face. They can quit. They can miss me with that dumb stuff. You don't get to insult my intelligence like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
How much money they raised for him on the GoFundMe?
That was over $2 million.
Yeah.
So if you go out here and you shoot somebody, and you think they're gonna raise $2 million for me, I can use it.
I'm just.
Whoever gave him the gun too, Miss Yvonne, I think, like you say, he was 17-year-old. Whatever adult gave him that gun, because we saw who gave it to him. He gonna get in trouble, but I guess not.
Yeah, he's gonna be charged. Yes, Letha. He was the first witness, one of the first witnesses that took the stand. His friend gave it to him. He gonna be charged.
But okay, how can he be charged if the judge threw out that it was considered to be like a hunt gun?
That's a different trial, a different case. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Okay, but he got charges too. Didn't you hear when the prosecutor said, I'm getting the person who set the garbage cans on fire? I'm everybody can get it. He's a prosecutor. That's what prosecutors do. They prosecute you. Okay. They love to prosecute.
Okay.
Okay. And so let me speak to a greater overall theme though. Violation of constitutional rights have been used, okay? It's being used. It was a big theme during Rittenhouse trial, and it's a big thing in the McMichaels and the Bryant trial. People saying, and they keep saying that constitutionally, Second Amendment right to bear arms. Constitutionally, you're violating their rights to their Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent and not self-incriminate when you ask them certain questions. Well, constitutionally, them going to prison or jail is considered inhumane or unjust. How do they word it in the Constitution? You know, inhumane, unjust, or an infringement upon their constitutional rights not to be treated so audaciously. You know, they bringing up everything. And so in my mind, when I kept hearing that same thing running for both, I started thinking they running the same basically type of antics. Same thing, just keep bringing up Constitution. And so that's sticking in the juror's mind. What if our constitutional rights are being infringed upon? I think they started looking at it that way, not realizing the other person's constitutional right had been infringed upon. Their right to life. That's a constitutional right. See, they wasn't thinking of that like that. They were only thinking about, well, let's put ourselves in his shoes and think about this. And then remember, the judge said you can't refer to them as victims.
Right.
I would have said, guess what? You's about to lose your job because you can either recuse yourself or you won't be overseeing this case, because I can guarantee you I would have went to the board on that behind right then and there. Oh, I got this.
I ain't never heard of that.
I got this. Oh, yes, he was dictating what they could and could not say.
Yeah.
I would have said, I got this. Okay. All right, I got this. And you let him pick some jurors out of a little box or whatever. I got this. That's right, I got this. Now watch this right here. Watch my flick of the wrist. Watch my flick of the wrist.
Did you hear any of the prosecution going against what he did? Are they going against what the judge did?
They
now?
were filing, I don't know what they're doing now, but then they were filing motion after motion after motion. They were filing their motions and the judge was like, deny. Okay, I'll allow this, but no, deny. But I would have said, okay, you ain't the it all be all. So guess what? I'm about to have you under review and investigation. How about that?
That's what I'm wondering, are they doing?
Oh, I know I would have did it. I already know I would have did it. Remember last year, if some of you all remember, when the teenager was sent to juvenile for in this state, and they tried to say she was absent from school, and the judge sent her to, y'all saw what I did right here on live. I called the licensing board here and said why. She need to be under investigation, and she does no longer need to be licensed to practice in the state of Michigan. Somebody got time to play. And protest was happening here. They let the girl go home back to her mama. And the Supreme Court here immediately had her released. Immediately made them go ahead and move that case up. Said, who you playing with? I already know what I would have been doing down up in there. I would have said, okay, you too scared to do it? Well, guess who ain't? I ain't. Okay. We freestyling up in here today. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, now I digress. Somebody else can say something. I'm just gonna sit in the background, pull up the next video.
We piggybacking with you.
I'm just gonna pull up the next video because I know.
It's gonna get worse. It's a bigger picture going on. You know, I can discuss it with you, Kerensz. It's gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better. But we have to, like Kerensz said, we have to approach and address things when we figure they're wrong or something like that. But you just stay diligent and just do what we can do, whether it's writing or whatever.
Okay, so let's go here because I got the NFAC in here too, and the ambiguity of people running around saying certain things makes no sense. Like Young Dolphin got shot, and people saying y'all ain't saying nothing about Young Dolphin and this when it's black on black crime. Excuse me, as African American people, we've always been turned up, or when it's black on black crime in our areas. So that's disingenuous, and that's not the truth. We always turn up. Advocates have been advocating for years. Activists have been out there advocating for years. So people say, well, where's this group at? Where's this group? Excuse me, it was before those other groups even showed up. So don't deflect that we always show up and advocate.
They just don't know everybody.
No, they just try to bring up something to deflect and deter.
Exactly.
I think Black folks are more highlighted in the media than the rest of the world because there's crime in everybody's background. Everybody.
Yes.
Black, white, Chinese, whatever, Hispanic. We're just highlighted.
That's right. It's just so much, Yvonne. We couldn't possibly cover everything that's going on because it's every day, every minute, every second. And like you said, we just highlight. Just highlight.
Right. Can I correct one thing?
Yeah.
The pronunciation of my name is Evalme.
Oh, Evalme. Okay, Evalme.
Beautiful. Say it again.
Evalme.
Evalme.
Okay, Evalme.
Yes.
Okay, if I steal it and somebody come up pregnant, don't say nothing. Evalme. What does that mean? What does it mean?
It's I am love spelled backwards.
I am love. Oh, that's beautiful.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
That's cool. Well, while we're right here, everybody know the enunciation of my name is Kerensz.
Kerensz. Okay.
Kerensz. That's how you pronounce it. But I don't care. People call me Karen, Rennie, Renz, you know what? But Evalme. That's the name of a fragrance. Okay, let me get back on focus. I'm putting on some Evalme. She need to turn that into a fragrance.
Yeah, she need to patent it.
I said it first. Okay, now let me get to this next video. Evalme, you need to go ahead and put your perfume out, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll
what you wearing? That's right. What you wearing, Evalme, baby?
What does that mean? I am love. I am love.
That was our side note. Okay. Hey, Alan, how you doing? All right. So I also have on here Ahmad in here because I heard people saying, well, you should be paying more attention to Ahmad Arbery. Excuse me. Let me flashback. Let us flashback and walk it up. Because they were saying all this attention, y'all just paying attention to Rittenhouse, and no attention is being paid to Ahmad. No, I've been watching birth trials since the beginning. Exactly. So don't. The turn up, been turned up. But let's walk it back. Lest people forget. I got the video queued up in the background. Let's walk this on back because people need their memory refreshed. Okay, let's refresh their recollection.
I've been watching more of Ahmad than Rittenhouse.
Yeah, me too.
I think a lot of people have. But me, I wanted to watch both every single day. You know, we have more than one electronic device. We can watch multiple things at once. Here we go. Let's flash back and walk it on up.
Now, people across the country are showing their support for Arbery. Yeah, they gathered in Jacksonville and Brunswick, and there is a growing memorial in the Satilla Shores neighborhood where he was killed. News4Jax reporter Corley Peel joins us in the neighborhood tonight. Corley.
From Brunswick to Jacksonville, people showed their support for Ahmaud Arbery today. You can see there are happy birthday balloons, flowers, and pictures here in the area where investigators say he was shot and killed in broad daylight. And we have seen several people stop by this memorial this evening to pay their respects. And now that arrests have been made, supporters say they want justice.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Dozens of people stood outside the Duval County Courthouse on Friday holding signs and chanting,
Justice for Ahmaud!
Justice for Ahmaud! In honor of Ahmaud Arbery, who investigators say was shot and killed while jogging in a Brunswick neighborhood in February. One man showed support by jogging around the courthouse during the rally.
I show all my support by any means necessary.
We got to come together and stop this mess. We got to come together. And it's about unity. It's the United States.
Friday would have been Arbery's 26th birthday. News4Jax spoke with Arbery's family at a rally in Brunswick where emotions were high.
Only thing I ask y'all to do is continue to keep us in y'all prayers, because this was a tearing part of me. I've been sick for weeks behind this.
Roughly 3 months after the deadly shooting, GBI arrested father and son Gregory and Travis McMichael on Thursday. This viral video shows the moment investigators say Travis McMichael shot Arbery after he and his father claimed they were making a citizen's arrest because they accused Arbery of a burglary in the neighborhood. Some Duval County activists feel there are similar issues with injustice in Jacksonville as there are in Glenn County.
I am very frustrated. I am mad. I am angry. My spouse is black. My child, my 16-year-old, is black. They are black men. It's a shame that I have to worry about their safety every single day.
And so
supporters say they are hoping for a conviction and they won't stop fighting for justice for Ahmaud Arbery. The McMichaels are claiming self-defense, and again, a bond has not been set for them at this time. That will be up to the Superior Court.
So they didn't get their bond. So ladies, what do you have to say about that? See, because people like to say, well, no. To the people who late to the game, and thank you for joining. No, people have been on this Ahmaud Arbery issue since it was known, made public. So now for people to come along and say, y'all ain't paying, why y'all mad at Kyle Rittenhouse? Y'all ain't paying attention to this. We've been paying attention to that.
And why they think it's in court.
And some of us true to the game, not new to the game.
Okay.
Okay, so ladies.
When I first
I want back.
When I first saw that video and the way they shot him and he was fighting, that hurt me to my heart. And then I got mad because, and then come to find out, the dude that recorded it, they had been chasing him way back. We didn't see the other part. And the way he laid out on the street and bled, that did something to me. It's like, they don't even consider us as being human, because half of them go to these churches and they're so big Christians and stuff. If they read their Bible, the Bible said God created all men equally. So they don't consider, some people don't consider our race as even being human or men, because they couldn't. And I never have understood that. I don't get that. If you're such a big Christian, you go to church, you believe in God, you read this in the Bible, so therefore you don't even consider us as Christians at all. I mean, as men or human, or we're just animals. So I'm like, if you're gonna treat certain people like animals, then we're gonna growl and we're gonna bite and we're gonna scratch and we're gonna get wild. And a lot of people do, because they just don't understand it. But it goes back to you, Kerensz. You introduced me to the Willie Lynch letter. And when I read that letter, I understand what's going on amongst our people. And I mean, people like me and you, I understand what's going on, and we have to, and I even introduced that letter to my nephews and stuff, because it really makes a lot of sense, it really do, and that's what's happening. We want to get out on that Willie Lynch syndrome, and you can explain to them what it is, because one more time, tell everybody what the Willie Lynch syndrome, the Willie Lynch letter.
Remember Willie Lynch, and they tried to say, oh, the Willie Lynch letter was fake.
No,
he was talking about psychologically how to pit black person against black person and how it would impact the psychological dynamic of the black people over here in America forever. So in America, I think our ethnic group tend to forget sometimes that they've always studied us from a philosophical and psychological perspective. That's how they know how to run game. And we've not studied other ethnic groups as an ethnic group over here in America to the degree that we should have. But they have always studied us. And Willie Lynch's letter was about studying the genetic makeup as well as the psychological makeup as well as the philosophical makeup of African American people. And making sure throughout the years that that curse was perpetuated, and it is still working to this day.
That's right. What really got me, and I knew it was working, is the part in the letter when it said you keep the female in check, because she's gonna be saying, don't do that, because Master don't like that. Master, don't do that, baby. Master don't. And it let me know then that they know that the Black female is the root and the glue to Black families, and strong. But they had enough sense to know that if they keep that woman in line and get her to thinking, and really they use because we are protectors. She probably, if it was me, I put myself in that position. I would tell them that to keep them safe. Don't do that, baby, because Master don't like that, Master. But it's also keeping them in line, and they listening to her, and it's going, it's helping them. And the mother, whoever the female, thinks that, you know, she's keeping them safe. Don't do that, baby, because Master don't like that. Master gonna beat you if you do that. And actually, it was another form of free help. Free help. That's what it was, free help. And then, how can you not like us so much, but then in them days, you let your children suck out milk?
Right.
Hey, what? I don't understand that.
Well, let me, okay, to piggyback on what you're saying, Letha, during that time, our ancestors had to be stronger, especially the Black female. You have to understand when you're going in there and you're stripping the men away from them,
right,
and selling them off, and dividing up the family. The Black female had to keep it together.
Right.
Had to, because had she crumbled under all that pressure and distress, we wouldn't have been where we are today. Like Harriet Tubman said, when people want to play Harriet Tubman like she was whatever, no, Harriet Tubman was one of the originals that was about that life. And when she told the slaves, look, you run back and you tell Master you got to go, and I will take you down. I will take you down, and I'm taking you down for a reason, because I don't need them coming up in here after the rest of us. Now, when I say let's roll, it's time to move. Let's roll. It's time to move. And as many who are willing, let's roll. Let's go. Because like she said, I could have freed thousands of more slaves if only they realized they were slaves. She could have freed many more if only they would have realized that. She said that she was going back and forth, walking back and forth. And so we had to keep it together. We've never, in the United States of America, let the record show historically, we've never had the opportunity to just be vulnerable as a people. That's not our history over here. And be cuddled and comforted to the degree that we should have, because that's not our history over here. And as African American women, they had to keep it together.
Yeah.
Had to.
They took our men.
Took the beatings, had to get whipped from sun up to sundown, had to get raped.
Sexual assaulted, I was going to say that too. Made to have sex with other women, to produce other kids, so they would have more people to work the field.
Men and women, they had to keep it together though. So don't tell me we are not a resilient people. We are. We come from a resilient stock. And sometimes as an ethnic group over here in the United States of America, we need to collectively get our heads out our behinds and get back right when it comes to some of our ideologies, lest we forget.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yvonne. I think you was going to say something. I digress right now.
You know, back to the Ahmaud thing, you know, some folks treat animals better than they do human beings.
What you say? Say it again.
Pull that back. Pull that back.
They wouldn't have did a straight animal the way they did Ahmaud.
Pull it back, Yvonne. When we say pull it back, we want you to say it again. Pull it back.
Pull it back. They wouldn't treat a stray animal the way they treated Ahmaud. You know, it was just so sad. And to me, while watching that trial, and I know they have to have a defense, but it's killing me. They're acting like Ahmaud should have stood there and took his whooping until the police came. No. He was fighting for his life.
He was fighting for his life. He never gave up. He died.
He ain't know who those people were.
But then he's like you said, he's supposed to stop and like, yes, sir. Who are you?
Like,
yes, sir.
Yes.
You went to the store. Yes, sir.
He didn't have to, and let somebody come up on them and tell them to stop. They ain't stopping either.
No, man.
So what gives you the right to stop another human being?
And then
you know, and you can't use that he was jogging. I mean, come on. You can't use that he was jogging. No, he was walking. He was doing. It don't make no sense.
Then they get in their truck, baby. They get in their truck, and just because he in trial, he can go home and take a bath. He probably took more baths in his life. Go home and take a bath and put on a suit and a tie and get his hair trimmed and cut. And then we supposed to think he's such a great human, and he was in fear of his life. He had a big plug of tobacco in his mouth and spit. He wouldn't feel it.
Did you watch the testimony of the lady in pink?
The one that she wasn't prejudiced.
Kerensz? No. Kerensz. She was getting, wait a minute. She was getting ready to get hemmed up on that thing when they was asking her about that video and did she share it. She ain't know what to say, was thinking with the hands, looking all around. Oh God, what the hell did I say?
I saw. The thing is, if you saw what you saw, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you tell the truth, you ain't got to be looking around. Yeah, you looking around. Looking up for an answer.
No, she was plotting before. She was plotting with the two guys before, making that fake Facebook page and was going to share the video. And, you know, she was plotting with them.
They was bragging.
So
you know how when
wait a minute. Let me finish here what she was saying, Lisa, because I want to finish her thought. Thank you. I know you hot. I know you hot. Lisa, by the way, Lisa, you doing good because you know you didn't caught yourself up here tonight. And I know you didn't caught yourself up here.
You behind the scene.
I already know. Go ahead, Yvonne.
So she just took the one side statements of her neighbors. I'm not sure whether she knew them or not, but she took their side and thought that the video would prove their side, with not her even thinking, you know,
it's another side.
Could they be wrong? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there another side? She just automatically took their side, was going to help them with the Facebook thing, you know, doing that, you know, and I think she was squirming up on that stand.
She was. She was so nervous. I bet she was just as musty as a goat up there on this stand, sweating again.
Especially when they asked her about, did she see that video before it came out? They showed her the video. She gonna say she ain't see it.
Right. So she had to catch herself. And the other one that was up there, oh, I saw, oh, my boys gets to go across. How did you know about it? During the cross, how did you know about it? Oh, well, you know, usually happened. Okay. And when the prosecutor asked her, you're the creator of the group, you're the creator of the Facebook page, right? This group, right? Oh, and so you don't know, you didn't know all these messages was coming through because you're the creator. Oh, I turned my messages off.
Yeah, she's lying. Lying. But Kerensz, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why couldn't they bring in the beforehand of Jackie Johnson and what they tried to cover up?
I think it's another
in Ahmaud's trial, during this trial.
Right. They can't speak about what happened before. I think it's the GBI got into it.
Right.
They can't speak on
right. That's a she has to have her own trial. That's number one, but that still shouldn't stop them. And the prosecutor said when the defense attorney objected to that, the prosecutors told him in her opening statements that, no, I'm not leading into that. She said that's going to be alluded to in and of itself with the witnesses who are going to testify.
Okay.
So it's what they agreed to prior to, but like the prosecutor was telling them, with XYZ get up and testify, that's going to come up anyway. So she said, I hadn't brought it up, but when several witnesses come up, that is going to come up. Like it's going to come up. So
it probably be on with the daddy. The daddy was the one that called, right? When he come up,
it was a lot of calling going on. That's what I'm gonna say. They could sit up there and try to say this one wasn't involved, that one wasn't involved, this one wasn't involved. I don't believe none of that. I don't believe any of that.
And another thing, Ahmaud's mom said that detective got up on that stand and lied.
Oh.
Because she, what was his name? I think he was the first lead detective. This was his first case. I think it was. And she said he called her and said that her son was in a burglary and got killed. And that's not what he said on the stand. And she came out in the press conference and said he got up there and lied. That's not what he told me.
She actually said that after she saw the video that they circulated way back, because he did call her and tell her that he had died in a burglary and he got caught burglarized and he was killed. But then he found out was a month or two later when the videos came out, and when that video came out, they shared that video because you know how they like to go hunting and they get their deers and it's a 2-point, 5-point, or 6-point, and they display it on their walls. See, that's why they were sharing that video, and somebody got it and took it further. I ain't gonna say I don't know who, and I ain't gonna
see, I'm sorry, Letha, finish what you were saying. Apologies.
I'm through. Go ahead.
To piggyback off that, remember, the prosecutor had this information. It was her suppressing information, covering up information, and I'm sure they're gonna get her for tampering with information. She's gonna get got for breaking her oath of office. So she should have did her job. So she was sitting on this stuff. However, it was certain ones who knew about the information, and then it was other ones who didn't know. So who specifically, which one was the mom talking about in terms of the detective? Because some detectives knew in advance and the other ones didn't.
She was specifically talking about the one who called her.
Yes, the one that
told her right.
Was dead.
He had on a black jacket. I remember that.
Okay.
I forget his name.
This is when it very first happened. He's the one to call her to tell her that her son had got killed.
Okay. Now, when that when the former prosecutor, Jackie, has her trial, maybe more of that will come out during the trial. knew who had what, and they'll bring in the proofs in the exhibits for that, and we'll be able to see in great detail because they're gonna go through their records. You already know they're gonna pull the records. So
and Yvonne, you know I can't talk in a country, and I'm gonna say your name wrong, so I'm just saying
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
What do you give me? Do you think, okay, with the one on trial now, with Ahmaud's trial, I think he's gonna get off. That's just my opinion. I think he's gonna get off. I really do, because the way the trial going. But the judge is a lot different than the judge that was on.
I like this judge.
But I feel like he kept saying he grabbed my gun and self-defense. He grabbed my gun. That's all I hear in his testimony. He grabbed my gun, and I feel now, granted, he was coached good. His lawyers coached him good, because all he kept saying was he was in fear of his life. He grabbed my gun. We see Ahmaud grab the gun, and off the side, we can't see what happened then, but we know what happened based on the guy that was recording it. He told off.
Can I piggyback? Remember when the evidence came back from the FBI and they found Ahmaud Arbery's DNA from that shirt on them vehicles. That's when it started getting even more real. Now, remember, Lisa, I said a common theme that I see in both is they kept saying the constitutional rights, and they kept saying they were defending themselves in the trial that just happened with Kyle and in this trial. Remember, I kept saying it's the same common theme. And for people who was missing it, saying, well, why are y'all so upset that Kyle got off? Because I'm looking at the overall theme in the same exact antics and principles and premises being used in both.
Yep. He even cried. In my case, the one that's on trial now, he even cried like the little boy did. Cried in his testimony. But the only cry that I'm worried about is a sob that his mama did when the trial first started. The sob that went through her. It was a wrenching sob, because she had to keep seeing this over and over again, that they killed her son. Everybody got constitutional right. Well, he had a right to run and jog down that road, no matter what color he was.
He had a right to life. He had a right to life.
Plus, I'm wondering, with that testimony of Travis, that the jury takes into account, being that he is a officer or was an officer, there are certain procedures that he goes through to apprehend or detain or whatever somebody that he did not take. You know good and well he ain't go up to Ahmaud and say, hey, I want to talk to you for a second. He ain't say that.
Yes, they do. He exhibited what he did to Ahmaud, what he been doing all along. But go back and review some of his cases.
Okay, so let's get to and it's gonna lead right back into Ahmaud, but I got to get into the NFAC, and shout out to Grandmaster Jay, the NFAC, the new Black Panther Party, the old Black Panther Party, the other Black militias, the Fred Jones Black militias, and all the other Black militias out there. Now let's get it, because like I said, we're gonna let the record show for African American people who have been out there, who new to the game or may not have been paying attention over a year ago, that the Black people were actively engaged. And if NFAC rolled right up on that street and said, y'all want to be about it? Y'all want to shoot today? Okay, y'all don't want to hold nobody accountable? Here we go. Not just the NFAC, it was other Black militias along. It was the Black Panther Party down there. And here we go. I'm gonna get to it. Here it is. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to share right now. Let's let the record show. Now, I done got too comfortable on this freestyle. I done turned myself.
I didn't even smoke a cigarette.
Wait a minute. I ain't even in the interviewing room. Wait a minute. Here we go. Let me do the share on this, ladies. And we're going to get right back into the convo. This is Freestyle Night.
Let me say this. Some of them men, is Al and them still in the chat? They need to bring their tail up. We need some men to talk.
Later, they don't be wanting to come up. So
they better come up. Alan, y'all better come up. We need some help.
Oh, we don't need, you know what? They can come up to the freestyle if they want to, but
we need some men to speak.
How
about that?
The men getting ready to speak right now. Some men are getting ready to speak right now because the men in the chat are adamant. They are already know where these brothers stand. But here we go, right here. Here we go. Here we go.
Let the record show.
Okay.
And new tonight, an armed militia marches outside the suspect's home. CBS 46's Barmel Lyons live in Atlanta with the exclusive details. Barmel.
Video of the Panthers Special Operation Command goes viral. On Saturday, the organization's armed patrol right in front of Gregory McMichael's home.
Well protected, well protected, well protected.
You don't win wars by marching and protesting. You win wars by fighting back.
General Rottweiler, a member of the armed patrol, says he wants justice by any means necessary.
You have to fight back. So you can't just sit there and your family gets murdered or your people get murdered.
When you see a person get shot with a shotgun 3 times, and then it evoked a lot of images from the past, whether that's Emmett Till or Trayvon Martin.
According to the attorney for the NAACP, Gerald Griggs,
I'm gonna give them an opportunity.
What they did is legal.
Everything that was happening was legal. We have a First Amendment right to protest, and we have a Second Amendment right to bear arms. And in this state, we have open carry in most places.
So now we're going to go over to the scene where it happened. Okay. General Rottweiler says there is still a long way to go to achieve justice.
Probably just do like a jury with no black folk, like they like to do this and that. So we figured we didn't go out there and send a message. That in a war, that's phase 1.
Griggs says the NAACP urges the community to seek peaceful, nonviolent means of protest.
We would just call on everyone to remain calm, let the process play out, and if you feel the need to protest, do it lawfully.
And just minutes ago, we learned of another protest group headed to Brunswick. The Justice Caravan, they're going to be leaving Atlanta on Saturday morning. In Atlanta, I'm Barmel Lyons, CBS.
The NFAC and other Black militias, Black Panthers, the new Black Panther militia, and the other militias got together because they was taking all day, rode on that street, and they started moving swiftly. So let's walk it back and pull it on up. For other African-American channels and people out there saying Black people ain't being in this case. What y'all, listen, some of y'all just getting here. They was out there, where were y'all out there then? Because some of y'all leave y'all behinds in Georgia. I didn't see you in the video out there with your gun. Don't play with me. Let me pull that back again.
Pull it back.
For the ones who reside in Georgia, talking about, y'all ain't been focusing on my, let's pay attention to my. Where were y'all over a year ago? If you reside in Georgia, would you out there with the brother and the sisterhood or with the militias standing in solidarity? Because that's when they started moving the McMichaels and the Bryants on up into the prison.
They had
and let me pull it back because the police did not come down that street.
Joe did. Pull it back, Kerensz.
They did not come down the street. They didn't come down up in that street. They sure didn't. They sure did not. They didn't even come up the street.
I was so proud of them. I wish I was like 20 years younger. 20 years younger. Ooh, child. I have my black head on. Sure would.
So when we're talking about this, Yvonne and Ms. Leith, I have to say this into the men in the chat. I have to say this. I said it the other day in the live. I said, you let them come out and be found not guilty and watch the turn up. You're going to wake up a sleeping giant that you didn't even know existed, that you thought was gone. That's what's going to happen.
But they're putting them out on trial. They're not putting them 3 on trial.
Wait a minute. Wait. They always put the victim or the dead on trial. They always do that. They always do it.
What about he talking about too many Black preachers in the church? Yeah, in the court. Too many Black pastors are coming up in the court, and you can tell he a stone written it. You can tell.
What he said was he didn't want to see any more black pastors sitting in that box.
To come up in there. You supposed to be paying attention to this. What you looking all back here for?
And what I said was, okay, let's talk about the hypocrisy of his argument, because he's been arguing about his client's constitutional right. But at the same time, you're going to sit up and violate somebody else's constitutional right. First of all, open court, constitutional right. Freedom of the press, constitutional right.
You got to look at what they do versus what they say. And
we have a constitutional right to attend these trials. How about that?
Another thing is,
we have no rights. They don't think we have no rights. Kerensz is obviously that they do not think we have no rights.
He don't think, them good old boys don't think we have no rights, but we do.
Good old boys. Not everybody, not all of them, some of them. And I'm gonna quit always trying to distinguish.
Go ahead, Yvonne. What were you getting ready to say? I'm sorry, Lee.
No.
Go, Yvonne, what were you saying?
I was gonna ask, do you think they should have had separate trials?
Yes.
No, they were going to work them all in together because they participated together. They were all involved in the murdering of Ahmaud Arbery that day, all three of them. So they was going to try it all together.
Was
involved. They have a choice.
I mean, with George Floyd there, all those police officers were involved in it. They were. What was the difference? Why?
Okay, what the difference in that is, Letha, if you allow me to respond, is Derek Chauvin was the one that was ultimately responsible for taking the life of George Floyd, because he was the one who had his knee on his neck.
The son was the one that pulled the shotgun 3 times.
So here you had the father, you had the Browns, all of them were participating when they ran him down that road. They ran him into a ditch. They had hit him with the vehicles. So all three of them, bring your butts on up in court at the same time. Let's roll, because y'all did it.
I could see the two, but the one who was in the car with
his car had some of my DNA on it, so he hit him too.
What?
He ran him off the road too. All these clowns was running him. That's why in court they played it. They ran it back. They said, "Wait a minute, this is your car. You was in here helping to run him
following him, and recording."
Both of y'all.
I didn't know his car had hit him also.
Yes. It wasn't just on the truck. It was on that car too.
This came out when the FBI took over Kerensz.
The FBI ran that back. You doggone too. They started pulling it back
like a racetrack. Yeah.
The forensics is not gonna lie. The DNA is not gonna lie. I don't care what the other attorneys just said and what the judge in Kyle Rittenhouse was trying to say. Well, sometimes the DNA ain't gonna tell no lie.
And if you not remember, he was on the jailhouse phone telling his wife to tell his daughter to take that video down. So who originally shared the video, Kerensz? Was it his daughter or who? Because it was bragging rights. It was bragging rights.
I don't know if it was him that initially pushed it out or if he had a police officer to push it out. But I think initially,
I think a police officer pushed it out, if I don't remember right, really.
But Brian had it posted, but I'm trying to think who actually pushed it out and made it like, hey. And I think it was, I know one of the officers for a fact did make it like, hey, and put it on out there. It was like, bam. But I don't know who did what first.
Brian. I thought it was Brian pushed it out.
I don't know if he pushed it out before the police officer, though. That's what I'm saying.
I know he was telling his daughter to take it down.
I'm trying to see who blew it up like that. Because officers had it. Remember, the officers had this access to this too. And I know for a fact one of the officers went on ahead and ran it. So, and that's where everybody was like, so y'all been sitting on this since February? The prosecutor's been sitting on this since February? So now you're trying to conceal evidence. And so the black militias rolled up in there like, this what y'all doing? But let me do the other share on this, because they was going off. The brothers was going off.
They were going off.
And when you saw the militia show up, what happened was, yeah, the women were out there, but it was more black men out there. They said, listen.
Yes, because it was his friends.
Wait a minute. They said, hold on. They said, we out here strapped up. We gonna do what we gonna do. We need to stay alert. Women, we gonna let y'all do the talking, and we gonna do the shooting if we have to. How about that?
Just like that.
Well, here we go. Let's get to it.
Pressures of being a part of this organization.
Free Grandmaster J, dismiss the case.
That we can be just as organized, just as disciplined, just as well armed, just as determined as any standing military of any government, not as some mob in the streets that gets together on the weekends to call themselves patriots.
Why do you think it's necessary to carry weapons?
I'm not going to answer that question unless you ask that question of every other race that carries weapons, every other civilization that has gone into other countries with weapons. The police carry weapons. Weapons were invented to defend oneself. So it is only common sense that we carry weapons to defend ourselves. It's not a question. It is a necessity.
How would you describe the state of race relations in America right now?
Pathetic. There's no other word. It has deteriorated to a place that is reminiscent of the early 60s.
What you
say? It is reminiscent of Jim Crow. It is reminiscent of the Lynch era. It is reminiscent of the days of the Ku Klux Klan.
There's a growing face-off between armed groups in the US, but NFAC insists, unlike others, they haven't committed any crimes.
Everything that we've done has been within the confines of the Constitution. The day that the NFAC steps over the line, it will be because the line was already stepped over for us first.
The Black Lives Matter movement is vast and varied, but he doesn't identify with it.
It has been infiltrated by people like Antifa, anarchists, people who come in just to destroy, not to achieve anything.
Many in the very broad network firmly reject that claim. But one thing the groups share is a desire to end racial injustice.
It is the aftermath and the incidents themselves. It's not just the fact that they shot us. It's that once we're shot, as in the case of Breonna Taylor, there's this feet dragging and there's this lack of sense of urgency.
In Louisville, Kentucky, they say they've helped peacefully push for progress, a settlement for Breonna Taylor's family, 26-year-old killed by police, and a grand jury decision now expected imminently. What if the three officers involved aren't prosecuted? What were your responses?
They didn't get convicted.
If they decide they don't want to charge anyone, of course they've got to explain that, not only to the population that's there, but also to all of the other members of the legislature that have given this wide focus. Why? And if you can show us in the law why you couldn't, we have to live with that.
Others might not. This is a year dominated by confrontation, and this week could easily bring more. Cordelia Lynch,
now,
Sky News.
Remember, in fact, in Kentucky, of times, in fact, and other black militias were in Louisiana. And so the federal charge they got him with in Kentucky was pointing his weapon at an officer that he didn't know was on the roof. So the trumped up charges they tried to get Grandmaster J with. So you look at, now that he's on some trumped up charges, you look at the force that is not to be contended with right now. You look at how they tried to suck the oxygen out of the air, because for whatever people want to think about him, he knew how to mobilize and get people together. Now, they don't have to like his personality. I don't give a rat's rump about that. They don't have to like the way he speaks. I don't give a rat's rump about that. What you cannot take away from him is he knew how to organize and get people mobilized. Period. Now, they got him on some trumped up charges. Have you seen the degree of mobilization? Not saying that the other Black militias aren't doing it, because that would be false, because they are. But have you seen it to the degree that you've seen it with when Grandmaster Jay was like, dang this, we rolling, because Breonna Taylor family wanted them there. He rolled up in there. The family in Lafayette, Louisiana was the African-American gentleman that got shot by the police officer. They wanted him up in there. He rolled up in there. In Brunswick, Georgia, they was just like, forget the dumb stuff. We rolling regardless of who wanted us here. How about that? And then Stone Mountain, when they were threatening to start killing Black people, they said, all right, we're gonna roll up in here too. So think about it. Ahmaud Arbery case started moving along and progressing along, and they snatched them about them houses and sit they up behind some jail cells after the Black militia started showing up in Brunswick. That's when they was like, oh, let's get them up out of here. Oh, let's move this on along. Oh, now we think we want to move. See, so I need people to think about, you know, when they talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. So let's flip it. Now, had it been a bunch of 17-year-old Black men out there with guns, then how would they feel? Running around saying, medical, EMT, medical, we medical. Then what would the reaction have been for all the people standing up here saying, and this is why I had to call a lot of them out today, some of them out today on their hypocrisy, because like I said, they want to believe in gun rights when it applies to them, some of them, the good old boys. And everybody ain't rocking with the good old boys. So let's be clear about that too. Exactly. Okay, because you got an area of millennials who just don't comprehend none of this. They ain't rocking with no good old boys. They don't care for none of that stuff. Wrong is wrong and right is right. Right is right. However, it will never erase America's history, no matter how they try to water it down and dilute it. They did what they did to our ancestors. It is what it is. They lied. They still owe us reparations. They still didn't make good on that check that they have not cashed for us. And if they want to build back better in America, build back that money with interest for all that labor our ancestors did for free. That's how you could build back better. But back to Ahmaud Arbery, because I can freestyle over here tonight. Okay. I really can.
Because you have made me think about
we could do some freestyling on some build back and better.
You remember when they had the protest with George, and that it was peaceful, and those people had rifles, police had rifles to their head and stuff, but they let these people go up into the White House and do things that has never been done before in history. People got killed. But you know, people were protesting for George, they had the guns right on. I mean, right on. Yeah. Right on. Everybody saw it. It was on TV.
And let me be clear about this. Can I piggyback in? Can I cut in real quick? And then I'm gonna jump out. And what about this? Barr, the pumpkin who looked like he wore a wig. Right. Had the audacity. See, when people be talking about it don't matter who you vote for, they wanted the same. Pump your brakes, slow your roll. You better look at the way people voting when they get sent their behinds up there to the White House. Okay, you better read through the legislation and you better watch the way they move it. Pump your brakes. It was Justice Department head Barr that threw the Tamir Rice case out. Now,
the Attorney General. He's the
Justice Department lead. Justice Department lead threw that Tamir Rice case out.
That's
I didn't know that.
All them signatures, Yvonne, see, people don't, not that everybody went, it was a lot going on, and I know you be paying attention, because I didn't see, I'll be perusing through your channel too. You be rolling on some topics. So it ain't that, it's not that you don't pay attention to what's going on, because I know that's not the truth about you. However, it's that you have to kind of go back and research out everything. And for them, Jeff Sessions, when he came in, well, y'all used to rock with George Bush Sr. and Ronald Reagan. So Sessions and Barr already knew where they came from prior. Yeah, I'm gonna pay attention to anything that came from what I deem as the three-headed monster. Now, let's be clear about that. Yeah, I'm gonna pay attention to that. Yes, he did, Yvonne. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But remember, Brian Sessions, they came off from under Bush and Ronald Reagan. So that told me everything I needed to know when Trump put them in over something. I already knew what time it was. You could look at his staff and you knew what time it was. While people was talking about Trump is for Black people. Where, when, how? When he staffed,
that's what I wanted to know.
When he got everybody who's coming from Reagan administration, the pipeline to prison for teens, and George Bush pipeline prison continuation, and the war on African American people, as well as the war on Americans, which was never a war on drugs, because how can you contend with a war on drugs in the United States of America? Make it make sense. That means you would have to shut pharmaceutical down first. How can you contend with a war on drugs in America unless you're shutting down the pharmaceuticals first?
Okay.
That was a war on Americans, a war on Black people. Look at their policies. So when I saw Jeff Sessions being selected, and he came off from under a Bush and a Reagan, came from the Bush and Reagan era, and I saw George Bush Sr., let me be clear. And when I saw the pumpkin rolling in, and he came off of the air in the Bush Sr. and the Ronald Reagan era, already knew what time it was. People should have been paying attention to how they were staffing. Trump was staffing his staff.
Pumpkin rolled on out of that.
Why they talking about he for Black people? He done more for Black people. I said how, when, where? Prove it. How, when, where? Prove it. Prove it. And I had to tell one person, since they was talking about, oh, Trump is for us. I said, wait a minute. He deregulated everything, deregulated the quality of air, deregulated the quality of food, deregulated the quality of water. Wait, pause for a minute, pump the brakes. I'm from Michigan. Anytime you go to playing with water, no, that I'm gonna have a whole bunch to say about you. You don't have my best interest at heart. Because of that foolishness they tried in Flint, Michigan, when Slick Rick Snyder sent people into a liquid toxic cemetery. Don't play with me.
I used to say Trump don't like y'all. He don't like nobody. Let him go.
He really don't.
He was for self.
Yes. Did you ever see that video of a man called?
If Trump was about that life, before you say what you say, Yvonne, if he was about that life, he would have rolled on them when they shot him out rear. Why didn't he roll in if he was about that life? All the Black murders that was taking place at the hands of others and at the hands of police. And your Justice Department head and lead is doing absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
As a matter of fact, had the audacity, and let me say it again for the slow Black people who didn't catch it, to throw out that Tamir Rice case. Now, but his administration was for Black folks. Yeah, miss me with the dumb stuff. I digress, ladies.
We gotta take it way back. We gotta put it
way. Had a lot of flunkies to me.
We gotta put it way back. He groped women allegedly.
I ain't even going off into there right now. I'm just want to stay right here. I just want to stay on this Black justice, these Black causes. Since Black people want to be out here talking about, oh, y'all don't do this, don't do this. Let's just stick with Black issues. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. Trump was for us. Rah, rah, rah. Show it to me. Prove it. Let's go legislation for legislation. Let's go vote for vote. Let's get it. Let's get it. Because I watched what his department had. By the way, what about them 40 prisons that was open that they want to call, oh, these are just for when they crossing the border, we can have some. No, that's the same way y'all said it before, and they ended up being prisons. Let's go. Let's talk about the private prisons that were allowed and created up under Donald Trump. Let's go. We know what they create prisons for. Historically, who is in prison? Who in prison?
Oh, blacks and people of color. If they build them, they got to fill them.
And they were trying to sit up and say, he did more for black people. I said, no, they've been pissing whipping y'all head to the bone and you ain't been paying attention because you don't want to read. You want to run with whoever you deem to be a popular blackface who was bought and paid for by Republicans a long time ago. And Letha, you know which judge I'm talking about. And I'm not sugarcoating nothing over here today because it is freestyle. Nothing. I'm not getting ready to sugarcoat this. Bought and paid for by the Republicans a long time ago, want to be running around saying all this stuff. But excuse me, sir, you've been bought and paid for a long time ago. Now, say I lied. Say it's a lie.
Now you want to
run your records and run it. Let's see where your contributions came from for the last 30, 40 years. Why you want to say, hold on, because I got to get them now. Why they want to come out and talk about, well, mine already and all this other stuff. Hold on. When you was a judge, what were you doing for black folk? What legislation were you pushing up there in Washington, D.C.? See, people want to come with all this stuff and get all bamboozled. Like my father used to say to us, pay attention. I don't care what they say out their mouth. You better go back and research. Go back and check it out. Prove it out. And look at what they've been doing and how they've been voting. By the way, pay attention to the voting count. Now, you know the way I feel about that. You know the way I feel about that. And I'll tell you what, people can love who they want to love. They can get caught up into the hyperboles and the pandemonium if they want to. I'm going to bring it right on back down and make it make sense to some common sense for you, to some no nonsense for you. Okay. Now. And we wonder why cases don't get justice. Now, one thing I can say about the Department of Justice, who's in there now. Now they trying to keep him hemmed up every which way but loose. But one thing he did come in to start doing was investigating police departments again. I said, and rightly so. Start right there. Go and start right there. You want to shake it up and shake it down? Start right there.
You don't think he's moving too slow?
Yvonne, have you seen every other day they have him in a hearing? It seemed like every month he got to be in a hearing, answering questions. Did you see it when I played him and Ted Cruz? And Ted Cruz was asking him a bunch of questions, and he said, "Excuse me, wait a minute." At the one hearing,
missed that live.
Yvonne, at the one hearing, Ted Cruz sitting up in there asking them stuff. He said, "Excuse me, I was not even here then. That was under Trump administration. So what are you talking about?"
Oh no, I missed.
I didn't have no authority to do nothing there. What are you talking about? Every other day they want to keep him hemmed up in a hearing on something. No, he came in right off the back like, I'm getting ready to investigate these police departments. Who you playing with? He was like, yeah. And the way that they were treating protesters and illegally spying on everybody. Can I get there? If y'all leave me alone for a hot second, I can get it going. But the Republicans want to be up in there talking all fast and trying to be slick. Like people forgot. I didn't forget. Other people probably forgot. I ain't forgot. I got a record. I got a record. Shucks. And I want the Justice Department to come on in and hit them with something over this Amon stuff too. Shucks. I'm sorry. Go ahead, ladies.
But did you see at the beginning of the investigation when, according to the body cam now, when the female officer, she was talking to him and he was bloody and stuff, and she told him, she said, you can just go take a shower and change clothes and I'll get you clothes. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought they're supposed to, as he is, to the police, they take pictures, retrieve his clothes, and they didn't take a shower, they don't. And then where they go. Maybe I'm wrong. Is that right, Kerensz?
What?
When they first, after he shot him, the police arrived on the scene. They approached the one that shot him. It's on trial now. He was bloody. She told him, we're gonna let you go.
I'm gonna tell you what I would have did. All y'all getting arrested, you gonna sit right up in jail. I was about to go get a probable cause. His blood is on you. Who blood is on you? Right after we come down and do these tests, you gonna sit in jail. But see, they got released. Come on down. The price is right.
They didn't handle it right. They took it on the word of them as to what happened, and that was it.
The price is right. Come on down. The price is right. Come on down. You got his blood on you. I don't give a doggone if you say he was doing what. Until you can come on down, the price is right. Probable cause, his DNA is on your body. And he dead, so he can't tell no story. I would never get his side because he's not here to tell his side. So I'm going to have to take you three in, and y'all gonna have to sit in until you have your hearing and whatever else.
I'm gonna take these pictures of you and whatever else they do.
Remember, they showed stuff in court during this trial that had never been seen before. Like when they showed, they said when the jurors saw that bloody shirt of Ahmaud Arbery and they saw his body laying there, the news media that were allowed in there, they said the jurors were just like, like they were like, what in the world is this? They said the jurors were like, oh my goodness.
You can see those pellets. You can see it on video. You can see those pellets when they go out his back with the blood spray. You can see it. You can imagine
a white shirt all red now. That means they.
And then they said that they was.
Go ahead,
Yvonne. They was making sure that the perpetrators were okay because before they even checked on the injured. They standing up, walking around and leaving them right there. And the one guy said, I wanted to make sure, you know, he was okay. You know, the perpetrators was before they even went to the body of Ahmaud for any kind of help.
And the one officer, well, one of the officers that was there said he knew when he got there, Ahmaud, that was it for him. He was dead. He said he knew when he got there, Ahmaud was dead upon arrival. When he looked at him, he was dead. Period. It was a wrap.
Did it come out that he was? But did it come out that he wasn't dead on the video?
He was dead. He was dead. He was dead. He was dead. Okay, the forensic pathologist said when that one bullet hit him, that was it. It was a wrap. He was dead. He was dead.
Him grasping for air, like grasping for air.
That's what I thought.
You say that in the beginning. They did.
Okay, but when the forensic pathologist came through and he started explaining the impact of the bullets in his body, he said when that one bullet hit him, he was dead. And when that one officer took the stand who was there, he said when he looked at him, because he's been doing this for a while, he already knew when he got there, he was already dead. There was no life in his body, period. He was gone. And he had bled out so much blood to like.
He said it was running down the streets.
He said it was the amount, if you go back and you watch that one, and it was the one who, this comes from him. And when the prosecutors are showing those exhibits, and you get to that one exhibit that we had never seen, and it's all that blood, and it's him laying there and pools of blood, that officer said, when I got there and I saw pools of blood and this and that, I already knew he was there. He was like, that's too much blood. He ain't living. He gone. That's a wrap. It was a wrap. It was a wrap. And the forensic pathologist got up there and testified. And once this hit him, it was a wrap. He was gone. He was gone. And you at close range too?
They said running black in America.
That was close range.
Yeah, that was close range. They said something about Chris or something. That was the third bullet.
He was fighting for his life. This is one that I did cry over. I cried when the first time I saw the video released of them shooting him. I had to get myself together before I came live because I was crying for each shot. I broke down and I was just like, and it's hard for me to just break down and cry because you see it so much and it should not be a commonality over here in the United States of America, but it is. I've been there and people been shot and I've been live seeing people get shot and shooting going on and stuff like that and didn't cry. But when I saw that, it was, it did take me back. It just took me back. I'm sorry.
What did you think about the questions the prosecution asked that they had to strike?
When a black female
yes.
when a black prosecutor got up there and asked her, oh my goodness. I was
then
like,
she lied and said, well, I had him on cross-examination and that was my question.
Well, technically it wasn't a lie because she was doing a cross-examination.
Yeah.
When you're cross-examining the witnesses, you are allowed to ask certain questions.
Right.
So they, and she asked what she asked, but the thing about it is this on record now. See, prosecutors and defendants like to push the envelope so they can get stuff on record. Because should the opposing party appeal, or it has to go to a higher court, and they have to go back and forth, they want to be able to say, okay, well, this was on record. That's on record. But it was, the judge, he struck it. He made her come back in and say, why did you? And then he had to tell the jurors not to consider.
She did a good one.
I said, oh my God. I said, oh my God.
That question was a food for thought.
I said, oh my God. I said, oh my goodness. I was like, I wouldn't have asked that question, but I was still like, ooh. I was sitting at home like, ooh. I got on like,
yeah, if the jurors take that to heart, because you can't unhear it.
Right.
If I was a thief, do I need to die?
Is it worth the death penalty? I said that's in their mind. That's gonna stick in their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously though, they treated Ahmaud like you said, Ms. E, they treat animals better than human life. They really do.
And hello to the people in the chat. Hey, how y'all doing it? I see you again, Miss G. Thank you so much, Alan, Leroy, other people in the bushes. What's up? We freestyle flowing tonight. If y'all want to jump on here, my email address is in a panel, but you know how I do. I will eject people. I have ejected people before, but we all grown adults over here. I believe it's a plethora of words we can use and keep it clean. And if you have to go there and slip up and say a word, I believe you can do that too. You are grown. I just won't. I know how to say words in such a way to where I don't need to use a candid language. Like sit your rabbit tail behind. Sit your rabbit tail behind down. And I know how to use some words now, so I don't have to use the other language.
I heard you, Kerensz.
I could be vicious.
I don't give
a flying fart. I don't give a rat's rump. You don't go to. I don't give a rat's rump. That's right. And so what's interesting to me is, and I see what you put in the comment section, Leroy. You said helter skelter. They've been trying to do black and white war since the Second World War. Well, when you look at the founding of what they deemed to be America after they stole this land from the Indians and broke treaties. Oh, I'm gonna keep it 100. It was always geared against Black people. Remember, we were not even considered, our ancestors were not even considered human. We were considered a third of human. And so if you got a human that's a third of human, what's the other percentage of them considered? What percentage were they considering the rest of our ancestors to be? So it has always been a black and white divide since they brought their butts over here from England and exploited and took the land from the Indians over here. It has always been that division. They say United States of America, but historically it's always been the divided states of America. It's been that since the inception. Remember, George Washington going back and forth with Andrew Hamilton and all the rest of them. Federalism versus anti-federalism. Federalist believes in government having jurisdiction over states. Anti-federalists believe in the states running and governing everything running off state law instead of big government. Where federalists, remember, all that stuff comes back from 1600s and years ago when they came over here and they wanted to be different from England and all this and that, and they would do things different and da 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 da. Well, they brought the division here. They brought it here. When they brought them slaves over here, it was division then. How you gonna bring somebody here as a slave and make them work free for over 400 years? Tobacco, cotton, which was the big money maker. Sell them on the stock market. United States been divided since its inception. And the founding fathers, the one that they allege are the founding fathers, they did that. So they don't get no acknowledgement from me unless I'm at the store spending the dollars with their face on it. I'm gonna keep us 100. I'm freestyling over here tonight. So that's my feeling on that, Leroy, is that the division was here when they came over and did what they did to the Indian, broke all those treaties, and when they allowed a human group, a group of humans to be considered 1/3 human. The division was here when you brought a group over as captives and worked them like animals. You won't even work an animal like that to this day, and treated them less than human, raped them, sodomized, victimized, traumatized from sun up to sundown.
What they don't realize that ain't nobody really from America. Everybody is from different places.
The Indians was here.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes.
Remember them group of Indians who tried to take some of the African-American people as slaves, and that didn't work out. So it was some African-American people here already too, for the people who really want to look at it from a real historical perspective. So we got to keep that all the way funky too. But that was certain tribes trying to take Africans as they owned. You got it? Not all tribes, not all Indian tribes, just certain ones. So we got to keep that funky. And America Vespucci did not discover America. America was already here. Now they called it America after they got here, but this land and this ground was here. And the Indians and the other ethnic people, Africans, were already occupying. The ones that the Indians had taken as slaves for themselves. And that didn't work out too well for them either. But anyway, yeah. In Ohio, in other parts of the US. Yeah. So the division was already here. And like I said, if America want to build back better, you can't rewrite history. You can't undo history. But moving forward, you can be progressive. So ladies, my thing to you all is this. We've talked about the problems. What are some of the solutions and legislations that you all would enact behind what you see in America today? And I don't care who starts first. It just won't be me.
I gotta think about that.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
As far as the Constitution, it needs to be rewritten to include all of today. Everybody. Take out the black, the white, the Chinese, or whatever. Put humans. When you do your laws, put humans. It doesn't matter what color, what gender. Use human as your basis when you do your laws and stuff like that. And I think it's simple to me. And as far as some of the things to survive within this world, to me, I'll be saying to myself, they need a damn whiteboard. Put what is a necessity for human beings to live and to survive until they die. Put the necessities first. Pros and cons, of a human being. And I think it would be simple. But that's just my thought.
Yeah, I concur, because remember, Malcolm X talked about that, human rights. Martin Luther King talked about it, human rights. But because African Americans were considered 1/3 of humans, they had to fight. The strategy was civil rights first, and we still haven't gotten around to human rights. And so that would resolve a lot of issues. It would resolve a lot of issues if they amended the Constitution.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And they need to push out all them folks up in there, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. Push them all out. They all old school. Because if something really, if they really wanted to fix this country, it would have been done a long time ago with everybody who's working in the government who feel the same way. It would have been done a long time ago if everybody was on board, but they are not on board for human rights.
So did you hear what Yvonne May said? When you go to vote in your states, it is time for some of you all to vote people out because you voted them in there. And unfortunately, some of you get caught up in, and she didn't say this, into the hyperboles and the pandemonium, and you vote the same person back in there, and you don't read through the legislation. You're not watching the flick of the wrist and the way they vote and what they're voting for, and you're not reading all the way through.
And term limits. Mitch McConnell should not be in there. He is too old.
See, thank you. One of my solutions, one of my solutions a while back, and I have been saying it forever, term limits, 8 years and out. If the president only get to be up in there 8 years, guess what? 8 years out. OUT out. And that's for Supreme Court judges too. 8 years, OUT out.
Yep.
Period.
No lifetime offices. No.
Okay. So okay, so was that it, Yvonne? Is that okay?
That's
Lita?
my thought, you know.
Lita, since you didn't jump in and started piggybacking off Yvonne.
I'll piggyback what Yvonne, what Miss E said, because you know, no permanent offices. Things change, people change. You roll it in and roll it out. That would be mine. And more better, and another thing, better with these police officers and mental health. They need a special mental health division. If you patrol in a neighborhood and you know it's somebody there that's got a mental health problem, it is your job to observe her. Know, you know, whatever you got to do, you got to get to know folks. You got to communicate with them and this and that. There's no way, if you don't know how to deal with them, then they need to have some kind of special group that deal with them. Because a lot of people have been killed because and they be having a mental health crisis or something like that. So I would really push for that. I really would.
Okay. So is that it, Lisa? Is that all you was pushing over? Because you know you be having a lot of good ideas. Is that the legislation you bring it? Is that the only legislation you bring?
When you get to talking, I'm going to thought of something else.
Well, okay, since I'm starting, and since the ladies are finished, now I'm gonna say this. Reparations. We're gonna start there. Let's keep it all the way 100. Okay, because you're not getting ready to make promises that you broke to my ancestors and say their offsprings don't get to reap the benefits of all that free labor. So constitutionally and legally, let's go ahead and get that. Let's get that done and on right. And the state by state they doing, like Illinois is pushing something, Detroit gonna push their own forget that. Federally, quit playing. You already made promises. Like Martin Luther King said, they wrote checks with their mouths that their behinds have yet to cash in terms of our ancestors. So I'm gonna start there. All right, so let's get that legislation up and popping from a federal level. And they keep blocking and blocking and blocking. We don't need to have a conversation about reparations no more. We didn't had enough conversations about that. Okay, pass the bill. All right, let's do that. You know, they pushing and you always got Republicans voting no, this one voting no, whatever. No, let's keep that 100. Number 2, immunity. And immunity for prosecutors and police officers. Cut it out at the federal level.
Yes.
Cut it out. Gone.
They need to be held accountable for everything they doing. Let's keep that all the way 100. Everything.
Agree.
Everything. Abuse for what? You don't get no immunity. Let them sue you for that mess you up in there doing. Everybody else get to get sued. Quit playing. Forget all that above the law mess. America have allowed legislation and laws to be on books that have allowed others to be above the law. End it. End it. And that mess about, oh, you can't charge a sitting president. And that dumb stuff too. Get that up out the Constitution. In that. Oh, no. See, I'm all about some legislation now. And furthermore, for the record, the war on drugs, the war on weed, that Nixon, part of the 3-headed tier monster had, let's go on and gut them laws from way back when. Let's get them. Let's get Reagan's, let's get the Bushes. Let's go and get all that stuff. That's right. Let's get it. Let's agilely go through and get rid of that foolishness. Period. Get rid of that dumb stuff. Period. And you're right, it should be about human rights. It should be, but they don't want to get there. You see, you still dealing with an old, ancient, demonic regime and mindset that's been extremely diabolical. Still presiding over here, an old, ancient, demonic, diabolical mindset that has been residing in America forever. It should be about human rights. It should be, because we are humans. It should have always been about human rights and not contingent on the color of our skin, what they made it to be. That some still believe that they are superior and inferior, you know, and others are inferior to them. Well, who are you? Because my ancestors worked this land. Who were you? Why they got to sit up on their behinds and do nothing? Don't play with me. Don't play. So let's go and get that. Let's keep it all the way funky. You want to do right? It is an insult to come over here and give Japanese reparations, a form of reparations under Ronald Reagan and any other ethnic group when our ethnic group has yet to get theirs. We can go all the way back and walk it up. That was an insult. They set up in here and they done lied, told lies. So we're going to keep it funky. We want to do some legislation. Let's start there. Okay. We know we about term limits in that mess, immunity in that mess. Sitting presidents can't be charged. What? Get rid of that dumb stuff. You right. Gone. The Constitution needs to be amended all the way around. It needs an overhaul. Now, for the rest of us, we need to get up off our butts and vote. Also, those who don't vote, by the way, we at a local level, we need to stay actively engaged. Remember, we have a right to sit down, draft legislation and laws and bills and stuff and take it to our governing bodies and introduce it. In the state of Michigan, at our capital, it used to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where you get to introduce your bill, your legislation to your representatives, to your House and your Senate. Okay, we also can do that in Washington. That's what the lobbyists keep their butt up there for. Let's keep it all the way 100. We need to hold, it is our responsibility to hold our elected officials at every level accountable and responsible. And a lot of times we don't do that. We can be on here, rah, 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 rah. That's fine. And raise an awareness campaign and to get back to them. And then they responded because they don't want to be canceled or they don't want to be the brunt of social media. Okay. They don't want to be the next meme for the day, or they don't want to be social media shamed or have their character assassinated on social media. So then they start reacting instead of responding and like, oh, well, I better do this. No, we need to get up off our behinds and start back going up and getting in their faces. Because when you show up and you shut it down, then they get to moving. Like, we want this legislation changed today. Period. We're going to be in here every day like they was when they was marching. 365 days a day. 364 when they was out there marching. They only missed one day. We're going to be up in here all day, every day. And we ain't going nowhere until we get the legislation we want. Now, why they up on the floor taking all day, they got to vote to bring a bill. Listen, we bringing the bills. How about that? Because we ain't going nowhere till you bring the bills we want brought. Now, bring it up for debate. Let's get it up and pop it. And if it's take all day to debate it, 5 minutes worth of debate from one side, let's keep it. I'll be like, we ain't get ready to be up here all day to hear from everybody. Put your points on a paper and give it to one person. Let's get this stuff going on and get some stuff passed for the people. Everybody got all day for this. Shucks. 30 minutes. That's it. Then you come back for an hour and a half and let's move this bill and stuff on the lawn. Now, shucks. Get your readers together. Get your fast readers together and let them read through this stuff. But you ain't got no business putting nothing in these bills anyway. That's shady. But like I said, also.
Oh, I hate that.
Also, when it comes to states like Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, these states, the states that were considered a part of the Confederate states, or these states that didn't want to, they wanted, it was the Union against the South. When you go back into the old wars, those states with those antiquated laws, excuse me, people who preside in those states, you all need to get up and make sure you about a flick of the wrist and get them old laws off the book, because they make no sense at all. Period.
And you would have think it would have, those laws would have changed when time changed. Why let them sit there? If you're supposed to have good folks within the system, you know, why keep that there?
Need to talk about your good folk. You from Alabama?
Well, all I know is that
talk about good folk. Talk about your legislation there, because you know y'all legislation is all the way jacked up.
Latest thing is invested like $40 million into the school, the educational the schools and all that. But she invested $400 million into these private prisons. And also Alabama.
Hold on, pull it back. Tell the people, let the people know who don't know what state you're from. I didn't already say Alabama, but let them know who you're talking about when you say she.
I'm from Alabama, and Ivy is the governor.
Oh, Lord.
Older lady. But she invested $40 million into the school system, but $400 million into these private prisons and all. And Alabama is listed as at the bottom for rated in the whole 50 states on the level of education. Now, why would you do that? $400 million into prisons and $40 million into schools around here. It's sad. I mean, it's sad.
Oh, Jesus.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. As a resident there, you all need to get together and change the laws. It's going to happen when the people collectively take the initiative and make sure they get changed. You vote on it and you bring it to the ballot. Bring it to a vote.
I try to tell these young kids that's in college and talk to them. I see them all the time. I try to tell them, what they need to do and what to look into and stuff. I done got too old to be trying to run and do it, but I do some things. I like to move in silence and things. But these young folks, we have to really, our kids, we have to get them to thinking in that manner. Because I never thought about none of this kind of stuff, actually, until I started watching your channel. The effect it has on laws on us and people and stuff. I never thought about that. I never was introduced to stuff like that. Whereas your father, he talked to you about stuff like that, and it was just opened my mind.
My mom and my dad, because my dad was from Louisiana and my mom was from Georgia. My mom lived in Georgia, Mississippi. They lived in California. They lived in Illinois. I mean, my grandfather and my grandmother, they moved around. And on my dad's side, his parents lived in Louisiana where you could not cross lines. And then from Louisiana, they moved to Michigan. So for them, it was Louisiana and Michigan after they had their children. Now, prior to having their children, wherever they stayed was wherever they stayed. And so my parents were very my dad grew up on a plantation. Okay, they was born on a plantation, grew up on a plantation, then moved away, whatever. And so when you come from parents who were in the fields and had to work the fields, and they come to a northern unionized state, then they raise their kids from a different perspective, I think, versus being raised in the South and parents staying in the South. And my mother still always says to this day, I ain't in no rush to move back South. She said, because the laws ain't changed. So what do I want to move back there for? Have the laws changed? Because a little change don't mean nothing for me. She said, you can't tell me what I lived through and what I grew up in. She said, I know them laws ain't changed. I'm looking at the laws. When they gonna change the legislation? The antiquated laws still on books. So they just made sure that my day it was drilled in us. By the time we was in 6th grade, we knew we was gonna always vote. My daddy made it plain. You ain't vote, you don't need to come to this house. You can come to this house, you don't need to be up in this yard. Once you got a voting age, if you weren't gonna be voting, he said, don't need to come, don't come to my yard if you ain't gonna vote. Forget the dumb stuff. Forget the dumb stuff. Don't even come to the yard. By the time we was in the 6th grade, we already knew that we was gonna be some voting kids. It was embedded in us that we'll be voting.
They never discussed it, and I never heard no hearing. I never wanted to know nothing about it. For real.
And I don't think people see what happened is people complain about the laws of the land, but you didn't vote the right person in, or you wasn't paying attention. And then this law come up and all of a sudden you in shock and awe. And you want to complain, but you didn't participate in the process. And then you get these slick talking jelly bellies running around saying voting don't matter. Okay, go ahead and break the speed limit, and then you tell me whether or not voting don't matter. All right, go ahead and attempt to pull a Kyle Rittenhouse, and you tell me voting and laws don't matter, because the people who sitting their butt up in there that's legislating, running down these laws. Going up there and take everything out the store you want and walk out and don't pay for it, since you want to tell me voting don't matter and don't have an impact in your life. Yes, it does. Every last one of us. Is when the legislation hits your household that you start paying attention. And the people who, you know, it's when they hit that flick of the wrist on you.
Okay.
So yeah, my process is, yeah, Alan, local government and federal government, always, 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 because we reside in different states, but it's a lot of things that need to be changed. And like I said, the end of immunity, running reparations, term limits for all straight across the board, holding people accountable, getting laws off the books that targeted African American people specifically, state by state. Okay, this stuff should be done away with. It's time to get laws off of these and certain statutes out of these books. Get them out of there. They were never advantageous for people.
They gotta go, President.
Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of legislation that can be bought. Like in the state of Michigan now, if you get stopped by the police officer, they don't have a right to search and seize your phone without a warrant now. They can't just go through your phone. They have to have a warrant now. So, you know, certain states are coming up with laws that are really for the protection and the upward mobility of people versus a free fall. So good points. Like I said, we talked about the issues and the problems. Now we have to come with solutions. We have to. We have to. And I believe, because you all know the way I feel about the death penalty, I don't believe the death penalty should be here unless it's for extremely extreme situations. And that has to be really extreme, because we've had a lot of Black men electrocuted and they were innocent. And I know it's been some white ones that's been electrocuted and they were innocent as well. But you look at the list of Black males who have been executed that were innocent, it makes absolutely no sense. You're going to tell them not to take a life, but you're going to turn around and take their life.
I never believed in it.
I mean, just let them die out in prison.
Right.
Period.
Look, as long as they hold them on death row, they might as well be in there for life. They might as well.
I just, And I don't believe that a governor or a board should have the authority to kill another person. Period. Because they don't get it right all the times. We've seen over and over again them get it wrong. So I believe that death penalty should have been ended over here a long time ago, because we know who it was for.
And in some states, I see they got the firing squad back. You know that?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. They got the firing squad back.
That's too much power.
Too much. Too much.
Too much power.
What states were those? I heard that, but what states can you confirm that those?
I can't remember. I want to say Virginia, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know. I really can't. But I remember reading it, but I just can't remember what state it was.
Did you see the story of the woman who's been on probation all her life?
No, black woman.
Say again?
Are you talking about that older black lady, Yvonne?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes absolutely. She's an older black woman. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yes. No.
No sense at all. How old is she? Is she like in her 80s or something, or close around there now?
She looked like it. She looked
like it to me too. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Makes absolutely no sense at all.
That's too much power for whoever is holding her like that. How many people have changed hands of her case?
And don't you
if she 80 something, there has to be so many people that came in after her first initial probation officer.
And don't you have to pay sometimes to see a probation officer?
Prison ain't nothing but a hustle. The biggest hustle, one of the largest hustles in the United States. So they collecting monies. Prisons for profit under Ronald Reagan. He started that privatization, prisons for profit. Remember, they went in there and lied, talked about we gonna have the best surveillance in the world, and we should be able to get paid for this and that, this and that, this and that. And prisons are nasty. They are inhumane conditions. Prisoners don't have running water. Some prisoners don't get food. Some prisoners can't wash their backsides every day. So come on. Private prisons for profit should be cut. That needs to be the federal law. Cut that money off. While I'm right here talking about it, cut the money. Cut it. Don't let them sit up there in private and get profits off no private prison. That don't even make sense. Cut that mess out.
And then going on a little detail, then when they own these prisons, most of the time they have like their in-laws or people they know provide the food.
They do. They wives, they son-in-laws, they aunties, they uncles. That's right. Letha, you muted yourself. So you was talking, but Letha, Lily, you on mute. You on mute. But right. Oftentimes in prisons, it's a game. Like I said, it to me is just a modern day plantation. Period. Period. Not saying that people who committed certain crimes should not be held accountable for their crime and serve out their time and so on and so forth. All right, fine. We get that. We understand that. However, all the monies that's being made, the high school to prison pipeline that happened under Reagan, cut that mess out.
And you got too many corrupt officers that plant stuff to set them up.
The wardens are dirty. It's a lot of dirty wardens.
And also
a lot
officers.
Of them.
Yeah.
And officers.
Yeah.
And we saw it. We see it. And then people wonder why prisoners sit up in there and they kill a lot of prison officers. It's because they dirty. And they done them dirty. Don't y'all know that they be beating them down up in there? Some of them get beat down by them. Come on now. People act like, and some people just act like, well, so what? That's them. I don't care. They shouldn't have did what they did to go. Was everybody in prison is not guilty. Period. So let's be clear about that. And even if they were, you are violating their constitutional rights. You're right, Yvonne. They are still humans. The nation have to be concerned with a police officer is gonna beat them up and they already behind bars. Like what are you doing? Like what are you doing? Like why? You shouldn't even be up in there.
And now correction officers doing the same thing. You be seeing that a lot.
correction
the prisoners.
Correction officers been dirty.
Mm-hmm.
They've been dirty. Some of them been dirty. I didn't say some been dirty. Like what? We need to do away with some of them laws too. That's right. You hit somebody up in here, guess what? You'll be sitting right next to them. How about that? Serving time right along with them. Keep your hands up off of them unless it is an extreme circumstance going on where you just have to restrain them without killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Jelly belly jokers.
Videos. Seen so many of those videos also. You
know, don't it just
on,
make you upset, Yvonne, when you look in the prisons and you see the way that they live? Don't that just
that and plus, Kerensz, the intake when they're intaking a prisoner, you know, just for fingerprinting or whatever, how they treat them.
And you feeling all on they bobo sacks and filling them up and stuff. What? I'm sorry, you can go ahead, Yvonne, because this one female who was in prison, she talked about it. And I'm not trying to be graphic and gross anybody out or vulgar to the point where they get grossed out, but she talked about how she couldn't even get the sanitary napkins she needed in prison. Like, what the heck is that?
Mm-hmm.
How they sit up and they withhold stuff. Like, come on now. Come on. Private prisons make billions of dollars. Like, and for the local and the federal prisons, we already know they taxing the U.S. citizens for that. We have to stay actively engaged.
I think in my state, I'm not sure if they're continuing to do it, but the prisoners here, they have to pay for this thing.
Some prisoners do. After you get a certain amount of money in your account, they do make you pay. Mm-hmm. They make you pay rent. Mm-hmm. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Yeah, they think prisoners are in there and everything is just free and they get the blah, blah, blah. No, absolutely not. After they get a certain amount in their account, they make them pay.
And usually
for room and board.
It's like $2 a day. If they work in the prison, like it used to be like $2 a day.
And Lita, that depends on it probably ain't even that much. That depends on the state.
What you mean? It's less than
$2. Remember those one prisoners a while back when I did that video, they was up in there getting $1 and they was making all type of uniforms and stuff.
At least give them a chance to make the right amount of money so they can be paying their restitution. Because how you gonna pay restitution you in prison?
They paying their restitution by serving out their time. Now, how you gonna try to get free labor off them too?
Okay.
They're already behind bars, and then you gonna work them like I called it, a modern day plantation. Mm-hmm. The purpose for them the reason for them being behind bars is for them to serve out their time. Now they in there serving off their time, and you gonna work them for free too?
Yep.
Come on now. Come on now. No.
I saw this one video when this one dude was saying that the Republicans are pushing a bill for people who are low-grade marijuana, institutionalized for marijuana, whatever, to be released. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay.
What state is that? What state is that? Because it sure ain't at the federal level.
I think Chicago was one of them when they legalized their marijuana. I think Chicago was one of them.
But remember, inside of those Republican bills, they always have it mixed in with something that's just as vicious.
Yes. Yeah, because when I saw that, my comment was to him, you know,
what else is in the bill?
Or right, and I said, they did say when he read the article they was expunging, and I said, well, will voting rights be given back to them? And I said, will they have resources for them to survive on the outside world? You know, is all this coming along with this? You know, you just can't put them back on the street with nothing. You know, if they don't have a family, you know, or programs coming along with it. Why are you looking like that, Kerensz?
Because you already, you already know the answer. No. You know they didn't write that into that. You know that is not written into that legislation. That's why I'm like.
Look, the guy said, good question. It just said, we'll see.
Yesterday I was I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That should come with it, you know, but go ahead.
But no, and it's funny you should say that, because last night I was watching a video of this black man who had been in prison for all these years, and he's like well off into his 70s, probably could even be in his 80s, and he's talking about after being exonerated and released from prison, and how when he was being driven around by this attorney who helps him out, he said sometimes he talked about food disparity or issues that he has, how sometimes this man will sit up and not have anything to eat for at least a week. And he said, and I will call and be like, do you need me to take you? Because he'd been in prison so long, and he's saying, well, man, I've been in prison for so long, and to be out on my own, like, I don't, how do I go? And he said, trying to get jobs, needing help with that. And he's in his, like I said, about 70s, if not 80s. He's an older black man. And that's part of a video I wanted to show, because he said, I've been in so long, so I don't know how to function out here. Like, go to the grocery store. Now you get all the current technology, like how to do this and how to do that. And he was saying, I don't have any income coming in, and I can't qualify for any assistance where he lived. Or if they said I do qualify for stuff, I don't know how to go about receiving what I can qualify. Like he said, he just simply don't understand. And he said he will go a week without food, because when he is in prison, it's days in there he went without food. And I don't think people realize that prisoners, people think they just in prison eating all day and they got all this. No, they don't. No, they don't. It's some prisons that's downright trifling. They don't have air. They don't have food. Living conditions are atrocious. I mean, he was just explaining how, the attorney was saying, I make sure he have food. I make sure his bills are paid up. He was one of the ones that worked on this case to help get him out. He said, so life after being exonerated and being released from prison, so that was a good point that you brought up. What is in the legislation, in addition to them reducing the child? I mean, are records going to be expunged? I mean, are you giving them a fresh start or a new start? Because remember, in that one time, President Obama was saying that you should take off the drug testing. Remember when he was pushing that, and they was like, while people were sitting up there, President Obama didn't do nothing for nobody. He was saying, by the way, let's get this drug testing stuff up off these applications, because doggone well that African American, who was going to impact the worst, African American people. When he was going through and saying certain things, let's just process of eliminate that, and Lita just dropped off, so we can get these things out the way. And really, if we're gonna be about it, let's be about it. Let's eliminate some of this, because
I had a conversation with one of my friends, and we was watching a program, and I forget what the topic was, but we was talking, and we was talking about things on an application or whatever. And I said, they should take off, black, white, this and that, only have female, male. And then she said other, and I was like, nope, take that other off. It should just be female or male, so they don't identify in trying to help people, from not being discriminated against.
But when they read the names, like, remember, I don't know if you remember back when they were saying they was reading names and they was like, this black name, trash, trash, trash. When they caught that one person that was throwing everybody application off to the side because they was looking at names. Like,
I forgot about that, Kerensz. I forgot about the name.
Like, trash. So, and I well, we know why it's on there now because of civil rights. And so by law, you know, and until they change it to be human rights, it's going to stay on there, because then you're going to have to deal with the hiring managers. You're going to have to deal with the racial disparities in that. You know, you're going to have to deal with that. And I think females need to remember again that they're considered minorities over here. So even when I see legislation being drafted up, and I know people talk about it and they say, well, the legislation was drafted up to include minorities. I said, well, you're talking about females and you're talking about other ethnic groups. So in terms of them saying they've done so much for black people, or black people need to stop complaining. No, you need to be extremely specific in that terminology and then that language, and make sure you're saying reparations for black descendants of slaves. You know, you need to be real specific. This goes to this group due to the atrocity and the emotional distress that their ancestors had to endure, that they still have issues and they need some type of counseling as an ethnic group as a whole for the gross atrocities that's been perpetuated in the United States of America against that ethnic group. It is traumatic. It was a traumatic experience, extremely traumatic. No other ethnic group have endured what black people have endured. No other ethnic group worked over here for free. No other ethnic group got beat from sun up to sundown, was forced to say please and thank you, had to do chores, was sodomized, was victimized, ostracized, and treated like our ethnic group was. And for people to say it don't matter, let's just look past it, you are an extremely disingenuous person. Don't tell me it don't matter. And it don't tell me it still don't have a psychological impact to this day, because it does, as well as an economic impact. Don't play the game like that. Don't play the game like that.
I like what you said. Instead of it being civil rights, human rights. I like that.
Right. Until they get human rights on their books, then we're going to have to still go with the civil rights until they get a human right thing together. And they don't have a right. Martin Luther King talked about that. Malcolm X was animate in talking about that, and they still ain't done nothing about that. And this is over 50 plus years later, 50 or more years later, still done absolutely nothing about it. Nothing at all. Nothing. Then you get judges up here talking about something, they ain't done nothing, they should have did this when they was in there, they should have did that. When you get people, well, what were you doing, judge, to create any type of legislation? What did you do? You get people out here talking about what they should have did, what the people who was elected should have done. What bills did they introduce? You know? So I'm going off, but this has been pleasant. This has been a pleasant freestyle. Now let me circle back around to Kyle, Ahmad, NFAC, and other Black militias, and Yvonne. Go ahead and let's bring it back full circle. Your thoughts as we get ready to wrap it up or conclude.
I think all my thoughts are out.
Recap it for them. I like to recap. I like to recap.
On the
get your highlights.
Okay. On the Rittenhouse, I think they got it wrong. On the Ahmad, I hope they get it right. on the NSAC. I'm looking forward to see how that's going to roll out.
Okay. So as I recap, I want to say this: we have to stay vigilant. We know that when it comes to Kyle, we see the games that judges get to play, and it's not a new game. We see the way the judicial system works for some, over here. And then you take another person from another ethnic group and it's not applicable to them. They don't get the same type of due diligence given. Okay. So that's what I want to say about that Kyle case. And so let's go, if they were to pull up every case where a 17-year-old that was from another ethnic group had the same type of rifle and the charges that they incurred versus how Rittenhouse was treated, we will see. The record will show. Not only that, I'm talking about in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So let's pull those cases and go case by case. Not only that, if we look at other cases that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where there were trials, let's see how many teenagers, all right, got to pull some names from a hat when it came to a jury selection. You know, let's keep it all the way 100. Let's keep it all the way 100. So that's my thing on that. You get to see it right in your face. Like, you get to go around, tell all these lies. And he should have been, like I said, should have been charged for posing as medical, an EMT. He should have been charged for that because I would have got that behind for that too. You get to see it like right in your face. It was a protest about police brutality against Jacob Blake. Had nothing to do with people coming in to be menaces to a society, because the other African-American people and other people were there were saying, don't come down up in here tearing our stuff up in our community up, because we have to live here after you gone. We live here. We have to live here after you gone. You burn our grocery stores out, where we gonna shop at? You burn this down, where we gonna purchase at? Don't come down up in here with that. We out here to just raise our voice, make our voice be known, make our presence be felt, and to get our objectives and our legislations and stuff pushed, and to raise awareness campaigns, not all that other stuff. Okay, they brought some other stuff down up in there, organized passing out of bricks. You know, total foolishness. The judge was out of order all the way around on a lot of those things to me, and they should have called him on it and got him removed. Now, when it comes to George Floyd, excuse me, Ahmaud Arbery, the same constitutional and talking points have been used in Kyle's trial that I'm seeing being used here by defense attorneys. So it's like, wow. And you look at the juror selection, and again, you got one African-American person and the rest are white. And that was like a wow. And the judge said that. He said, I have an issue with this. He said, however, but because this is Georgia law, I can't do nothing. So it's like, wow. And in terms of Grandmaster Jay, I know we definitely need to continue to support him, for those of us who have been supporting, and raise our voices even louder after having seen what we've seen, because he was all the way legal and was well within his constitutional rights. So it needs to be a greater pushback for him as well as others. And we just need to stay vigilant and make sure we be about that life and getting this legislation and laws passed. Now, that's all I have to say. Now, having said that, those are my finishing thoughts. And Yvonne, would you like to say your goodbyes?
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for having me up, Kerensz.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And I do Letha. Something Letha would say. Ooh, Letha would be saying a lot. So y'all know, nobody Letha alone. What you get me? Okay, you all. Thanks so much for streaming. You all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Remember to stay vigilant. Remember to stay actively engaged, because it is about what's right and what is wrong. And it is our responsibility not to be complacent and to think that just because it's not happening to your household, you don't have to say anything, because it could be you and it could be yours. And you're going to want somebody to stand alongside you, help you, and assist you. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Bye-bye, everybody. It's got to be about accountability, responsibility, and real justice. Have a nice night.